Hi everybody, final game of the Bellum La Coupe number 5. So yeah, we suffered a loss on Thursday morning. Wasn't easy to swallow for us, but yeah, after a good talk, I told to the guys that we still had a very good chance to podiuming or even better. So we need to stay focused, try to finish well. And yeah, I think we fancied our chances before the last round. We faced a good team. It was the Italian team Piloli. I was really happy personally because I faced no one of the Swiss mate that I faced most of the time when playing in Switzerland. So it was cool to face 4 French team plus the Italian team. So I was really happy to finish with them and really happy that they joined the event. By the way, so if they're watching the video, I thanks them to having participated to this event. It was really a pleasure to see them. I hope they enjoyed it and we will see even more Italian team next year. Would be really a pleasure for us. I think they enjoyed it. I hope so at least. So pairing was a bit mixed between good and bad feelings. So basically our VC was picked by the ID. What I heard from Alberto, my opponent from the last game, was that the ID Simone was from Italian ETC team and that he wanted to pick his game to put a heavy win, a big win. So he picked our VC. We didn't know that before the game, obviously. If we knew, we would have maybe told that to our VC to play even more conservatively. We had a mirror match between me and Alberto, Ogre Kingdom. We had our DL against Druid Elves, and then we had Dravenhold against Highborn Elves, which was, according to our matrix, our view on the matchup, we had some good positives on both. Unfortunately for us, we weren't able to really pick double green on the elves despite the number of greens. So yeah, not optimal. I don't know if all our views on the matchup are right or not. Maybe we have the tendency of being overconfident on elves, I don't know. But yeah, it was going to be a tough round. You know my list. This is my opponent's list, so it's different than mine. It's much more shooty with double squat apple, tunnel cannon, some ambusher. He has also Merkverts and the Frosty, and then he has like a smaller Death Star, which are bruiser, so they strike after. But then he has the Ligatong, also enough buffs, and he has a Master Pyro. So it's different type of list, much more range damage than me, less combat oriented, but yeah, still very scary from distance because he can do a lot. So obviously Squatapult and Keen Eater aren't the best tool against me, which was some positive for me to take from this matchup. So I fancy my chances against this list. We played King of the Hill, and the map, the deployment type was the Refused Flank, and here you have both spell selection. So since I have a much more combat oriented list than him, I figured out it's King of the Hill. I should be able to get secondary, which was already a positive news, especially on diagonal. It's not easy to pick a good piece of terrain outside of the deployment zone. I expected still Alberto to play kind of defensive. I think he had to because I'm just better than him in combat. We both know that getting the charge is important for Ogre Khan. Even more so, we have also the agility factor. He has Yeti Fools plus the Frosty, meaning even a charge from my Mercs against his Merc, we strike same time. If he charge, he strikes before me. So we had all these little factors that are still quite important in the game. Range damage, I will target his Merc, he will do the same. Obviously, the darts could be a way to move forward, but at the same time, he also has plenty of chaff. He can use Keen Eater, he can use darts as well. So we both have tools to delay the battle. If possible, I would like to drop to start playing pressure and getting board control. And my estimation was a drawish type of game because yeah, it's hard to put a green on a mirror match, I guess. So what happened? Deployment, Alberto won the roll for side. He gave me the side with an impassable in the middle to try to be slightly more annoying for me. He picked the forest train in the middle, which I think he had, no matter what he picked, it was going to be kind of hard for him to defend. So he decided to get the hill, which was good for him to have some good shots, also magic to see the cat and all the stuff. And I picked the wall. And then I dropped everything first turn on the starting line. So you have Bruiser Darts, Mercs with Mage and BSB, Tribe Star, Frosty, a cat, Tribesman, Bruiser, Tusker, Giant. And what he had, he put both Keen Eater here to try to chaff me and slow me down. Scratapult, a cannon, so 3 chariot to also slow me down. The Mercs with both character on the hill. We have then the Frosty, Tribesman, Scrappling, and Bruiser. My turn 1, so I push. Basically, I make sure that he has to take March check on the Keen Eater, and if he fail, he cannot chaff me, meaning I could start to charge a Scratapult, which was going to be interesting. I push also a bit with my Death Star just to zone him a little bit, but yeah. And move my Mercs 6 forward to shoot at the Tribesman on the left. Move my Frosty from behind to the side and move away with the dog until he moves away from the hill. I don't want to get killed from fireball or anything. He can look over my unit from the hill, so I wanted to wait until he moves down or wait a bit later before I move him forward, because in this type of game where it's kind of close, at least in the early stages, it's better to try to save as many points as you can, basically. Because I felt quite good on the matchup, having already more or less the secondary in hand. So I started at 13. I'm almost sure that he has to give me stuff to slow me down. So I was already looking at a small to middle win from the fact that I could start. Magic. I do 4 wounds to Tribesman with Hand of Even. I get Chilling All on his unit of Mercs, and then with 3 dice against 5. So he kept his dice for the Wrath of God, which makes sense. And lucky me, I got a Wrath of God first turn in front of the Frosty. So yeah, very lucky for me. Shooting, I shoot with Mercs at this unit. This time he fails. He's 7 rollable and moves out of the table. His turn 1. He passes both smart check, move out of my line of sight, and move this one to chaff my Tusker. Position the Scratapult to be in a way to charge me in case I don't buff them or I see any opportunity. Move them slightly forward on the hill to scare me. It's a bit difficult matchup for me. He leaves me with like an 11 charge, and the problem being I cannot chaff effectively up to here. He has some tool to kill my chaff piece. The dart are still quite far away because they don't want to get charged by chariot. So it's kind of hard to break the standoff at this point of time. My Death Star cannot really phase his Merc unit because he goes before me. He has Ligatong, so the Great Can alone is not enough to compensate all the damage that he might do with Mercs. So it's not so easy to break the standoff at this point of time. And yeah, Bruiser also looking at me makes it not so easy. So I have control of the board, but I didn't feel this part of the map that I had so many opportunities to really push and be more aggressive at the beginning. Magic phase, he got 2d6 on the Mercs, did nothing. The Wrath of God comes down, did 4 wounds to Mercs and 5 wounds to Bruisers, which is already quite good. And with shooting, he didn't do much because I had chilling all, on the cannon, affecting also the Mercs, so he did not much. My turn 2, so I charge the chaff, position my giant in front of the Keen Eater, making sure that my Bruiser are covering the movement that he might do to go around and threaten me in the back. Yeah, position my mage here to cast spell against the cannon. Try to hurt. Basically, I want to hurt his range damage to maybe get an opening. If I do more damage than him, then maybe I get an opening to move forward. But he has MR4, so I cannot do any damage against them, basically. And as you can see, I suffered a couple of casualties from his shooting last turn. So 2 wounds from shooting, I guess. And here I think I had the opportunity to move out. If you look line of sight, I don't know if the Frosty could have moved out, or at least gave him a very, very long charge and maybe look sideways to try to push towards the side after to threaten from the flank. That would have been nice. I don't know if that was possible. I have the feeling it was, but after this turn, since I didn't took it, after that he will just cover and there will be no way I will get any opportunity to do that. But I think this turn it wasn't covered already, I felt, if I remember correctly, but not 100% sure. In the magic phase, getting 2 hits, strengths a lot on the cannon, did 2 wounds. Hereditary on the Tusker, just making sure it doesn't want to double charge my Tusker. Don't think he has a lot of chance to break them, but you never know. And shooting, I did 3 wounds to the Mercs. Close combat, I killed the Keen Eater. Especially if I get stuck and he gets charged. Could be a bit annoying for me, so I still need to be careful. That's why I put Hereditary on them. His turn 2. He moves out of my line of sight. He uses my footprint against me very smartly. What I could have done is basically, yeah, no, I had to put the giant. I could have maybe reformed them one wide to be able to charge here. I don't know. But still, yeah, I think he didn't pass march check, but with 6 he was still able to get there. If I would have been one wide, maybe I would have been able to charge. So could have been slightly better. He moved here, put a catapult in front to chaff me to avoid me charging multiple stuff. And the rest he just zoned me for the moment. In the magic phase, d6 did nothing. Then shooting, he killed one of my mercs. He did 5 wounds to... Yeah, he did with magic. He did 5 wounds to my tribesmen. I think these tribesmen in the middle to hurt them. But I failed panic. Think so. We'll see after. And my turn next. No, I didn't fail panic. Where did he do 5 wounds? Ah, to my middle tribesmen. These guys. So he did 5 wounds to them with shooting from the catapult. Sorry, excuse me. So charge my turn 3. I charge the catapult that was chaffing me. I put in position a setup where he cannot escape, and I will be able to charge him. What I could have and should have done instead, it's very likely that he failed the march check on a 6, no reroll. So I could have put my bruiser here in the front and start to move around with the giant and apply more pressure. I went for the safe choice, so there's no way to escape line of sight, but maybe I could have been, yeah, a bit more scary, and even if he go around, I can still turn around and deal with him. I don't think I would have been in big trouble if he passes the march check. So I could have done slightly better, I guess. But anyway, so I decided to do that to block him. I charge here, check what would have been my reform, kept the dog away, everything was just standoff. My magic phase, I killed the cannon with Hand of Heaven, did another 3 wounds to the mercs with my shooting, which was nice, and I killed the catapult as well. His turn 3, he charged with his skin eater to the back of my tusker to hold me down, moves away with catapult, keeps them on the hill, keeps the standoff. He killed one of my mercs, I think. I dispelled 2d6 and close combat. I did 2 wounds to him, but I don't have any impact hits, so I'm not able to kill him in one go. Meaning I'm stuck and I'm not able to charge next turn on the catapult, which is slightly annoying. My turn 4, so I'm close combat. This time I moved the giant to the position where I should have maybe been last turn. Reform them in a way, if we get stuck I can counter charge. I have only, as you can see, only 2 mercs remaining. I could have and should have maybe moved them away this turn, but I wanted to continue to shoot at them. Move my BSB within this unit to be safe. The Death Star alone is still enough to zone everybody. I'm still watching what he might do with the chaff, and there is no way he can really push me effectively. I also have enough chaff at my disposal if needed, so I think I should have moved away with my mercs, but yeah, that's a detail. Magic phase, I cast Chilling Hole. Then I did a d6, but I don't remember on what. Didn't do much. 1 wound to something. And then the mercs, I did 3 wounds to his merc with my shooting, and that was it more or less. Close combat, I killed the Keen Eater and Pivot. He's turn 4, he just backs off, he took his time out, his captain says save the point, and now it's just too late for me to push because yeah, there was still a standoff. Even with my Death Star is too far away, so even if I push the Death Star strong, basically can give me the cat as chaff. So even if I chaff him and push, he has still enough chaff to chaff me, and he's likely. Basically, what I could do on my turn 5 is push here, chaff his main unit, but then he would just chaff me. Put the scrappling. Can I go through the scrappling in 2 or 3 rounds? I don't think so. And then on his last turn, he's likely to just kill my Frosty. So I don't think it's worth it, basically. But yeah, what happened in his magic phase? I binding scroll 2d6 strength 4, try to save my mercs. I dispel 1d6, and then with the other d6 from Fireball, he was able to get 3 wounds to my mercs. So I got punished for the mistake of not moving them away. My turn 5, I push forward with with the Tusker, try to get something, reform them wide to protect as much as I could with him, and just make sure if he moves forward and I charge, yeah, he's basically in big trouble before I strike before him. And yeah, just a way that he wasn't able to move and magic him this turn. That was just the idea. Kept him far away, and that was it. Push the giant, pay attention of the 6-inch between everything to avoid any panic check. Just played as safe as I could. My magic phase, what did I do? D6 plus 1 did 2 wounds to tribesman. With shooting I did another 2 wounds, but he passes panic check. I got an hereditary off on maybe the Tusker just in case, and not much else. He dispelled the Wrath of God. Turn 5, he continued to back off, play safe, so nothing too crazy, move away from my range, so I think I had no charge at all, no possibility to charge, so yeah, nothing for me. I dispel 2d6 did 3 wounds to these guys, d6 did nothing, and on my, do I have another picture? Yeah, nothing too crazy to tell you, so I just move away with stuff, try to cast some spell. I won't be able to kill the dog, did only 1 wound with the 4 shots from the BSB and the magic. And that was going to be it. And on my turn, I think I dispelled 2d6, but he was still able to kill the last wound of the tribesman. And I pass here 9 rollable, and that was the end of the game. So I didn't write down correctly here, sorry, but he took from me, I have here on my notes, half of the mercs and the full unit of tribesmen, which is 488. And I took from him a tribesman unit, 2 keen eater, 1 cannon, and the scratapult, which is 1080. And this is a 12-8, makes it a 15 with the King of the Hill in my favor. So this was a almost a risk-free 15. So I was quite happy with that. Could I have taken more opening to do better? Maybe. Didn't see so much opportunities to do so, to be honest, without risking too much. So always the consideration between what I could have got, but how much risk was needed for that, and I didn't feel it was worth it to do more, basically. So yeah, drop, I was happy to start doing the range damage. Deployment, I think I could have done slightly better to give me more push option. If you take deployment, I put Death Star in the middle, Tusker on the right, and Mercenaries on the left. And I think if I would have exchanged maybe Death Star and Mercs, the downside is at some point I would have had the Tusker out of general, so I would have had to accept maybe a panic check or 2 on the 8 rollable. Am I okay with that? That's a big question. Instead of 9 rollable, not so sure. But the upside, so the good aspect of that deployment with the Death Star on the left is the fact that I'm threatening from both flank. It's much harder for him to zone me on this part of the map. Maybe I have some opening to take more points, but that's not sure at all. On my turn 3, like I said, I think I could have... The good play would have been to be on the spot. I would have been turn 4, but turn 3 with my giant. I think end effect would have meant to maybe get another scratapult. Maybe. Turn 5... Like I said, I don't think it was worth it to put a dart in the front and push with both, because I think it only results, again, we saw the picture, but I think it only results in the fact of him killing with the bruiser on last turn my Frosty, and me getting in exchange a piece of chaff. So I don't think it was worth it at all, and also I would have probably lost the bruiser in the process, so I don't think it was worth it at all. So that's it, not much more to say. We win this round, but it was really, really close because, yeah, our VC was destroyed. We forgot a little bit the fact that he had put at a negative matchup. He played it to try to be as close as possible to a tie, and maybe slightly too open. He could have maybe played more defensive and stop with a 6 or 7, maybe, would have been much better for us. The rest of the game, yeah, just went as expected, more or less. We claimed some small wins, and altogether it allowed us to win a little bit the round. On the right side, we have our total. So yeah, a bad Sunday for a VC player, but I think he was able to learn a lot playing against good player, Borsha and Simone, that are players that were at ETC. I think it was a good learning experience. Also, he had some hard matchup, not so hard, it's hard to say hard, but some not so easy matchup, slightly negative, not in his favor at all, and I think he learned a lot on how to deal with this type of matchup, how to limit a bit more, so it was a good training for him. But yeah, unfortunately this cost us quite a lot of points that yeah, it's not so great, the total that we did on Sunday, so we will see on the result if that's enough to get on the podium or not. And yeah, for me, quite happy. I finally achieved, I think I never achieved the 80 mark on a 2-day tournament, so I was quite happy with that. It was quite a good performance. But like you saw, it's interesting to see, and I think you noticed that in all my battle report, that despite the good result, I'm still always looking for a way to either get the same result safer or get slightly more. Try to weight the risk factor to see if I could have taken slightly more risk to get more, if it was worth it or not. So there are still plenty of minor things to adjust, some deployment that you can improve and stuff like that. So this is very interesting to see that even with good results, you shouldn't say, oh, everything was perfect, I did 80, awesome. There are still a lot of ways that you can improve in the game, and that's fascinating for me, because you cannot always say, yeah, I'm 100% happy. At least that's my mindset. So yeah, quite happy about our tournament overall, but I will talk more about that in the conclusion video, also talk a bit more about my list. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching this battle report, and I will talk to you soon on the next video. Bye.